I'm supposed to do. And what's supposed to happen here is basically I use the data that I fetched from the screen to create a request document, to ship it off. That's done and called the create request document. That's simply the functionality that will create the document. I will ship it off using the call service. I will get a response back, read the response document, and put that out onto the page, and of course set the error if there's an error. And then I will go back to where I came from, the event handler, and I will put it on the screen, of course. But these are actually the ones that are very interesting. This is the one, the create document. So that's a transact XML function, and I will go into it. Okay, so the request document is basically just a question of transferring a lot of parameters, of course. Personal data. And the optional personal data. And then, of course, telling me what's the document name, where's the document that I'm going to traverse or create. Okay. So all I actually do is I set an insert row on my customer create from data 1, which is this one. And what happens here is basically I'm just creating the document. This is my top element of my XML document, and I simply create that by saying I want to insert a row right here. And that goes well. What I do afterwards is I insert my personal data, again, just the parameters that you saw me enter into this functionality, and I call my optional personal data. Just to show you, that's simply just parameter interference. I'm telling you, the objects are all reference the parent element, the object document, and the parent element is the one that was created just on top of where I created the document, the top element of the XML sheet. And I just refer to that, and the DOM layer will automatically, because we interfaced it, will automatically add elements at that level. So the personal data and the optional personal data are basically siblings in the XML sheet. Okay. Okay, so basically all that is done here is I will insert the top header, the top row, and if that goes well, then I will insert two siblings, the personal data and the optional personal data. And just to show you what actually is the result of that, I will show you the request response again. And this is what comes out of that. Okay, so our top element, this one. Okay. I'm sorry, my mouse is disappearing here, so I'm trying to figure out where it is, and that's why it's a bit messy. There it was. And what you see underneath is basically the personal data right here, and underneath that, as a sibling, the optional personal data. And the sibling basically means they have the same parent. As you can see, that's the customer create from data, the top element. So that's all done just simply using the transfer of parameters, of course, and the insert row. Very easily done, and you will get a valid XML sheet because you imported it with the schema importer. Everything will be spelled right. All the elements are there. I realize there could be more elements here. We've cut it down to make it simple, but basically that's just more of the same. If you want to create all of the elements that are possible in a ERP great customer. You just have to do more inserts basically, but on the same way of doing stuff. Okay, so what happens is we ship it off. Done in here. I won't go into that because that's basically not very relevant to this stuff. And then what happens is we get an answer from the call service, and we will simply ship that into our read response document. Just add the response file name, which we get from the service. And if we go into that, take a look at what it is. What basically happens is we call a get first occurrence on the top of our response now. So basically, we have a local input, local output. That's basically just memory allocation done by the Webcast team. We need some place to put this document, and we need to be able to access it again. So that has to be the same all the way through the exercise, and then it's there because that's the way the DOM layer works again. But that's just techniques, and you just need to add local output document because that's what it is. It is the response. And if I were to show you again the creation of the document, it will be local input document. That's the way we differ between the two documents and the two memory spaces that we're working on. Once we've done our set set lower limits, basically with the get first occurrence, what we do is we call a single fetch. Again, with the element that we got from our get first occurrence and the same local object store reference that I just talked to you about, the local output document. Oh, sorry. Okay, and if that goes well, then I simply take all of the data that I got from there. That's basically a straightforward single fetch. And what we get is just, in this case, just the customer number, because that's all it is. That's all that's in there. So that's just it. And then we get the next occurrence. There might be, in this case, there are not. There might be reoccurring elements in the XML sheets. So if you have a order header, order line type structure, then once you've called your first order line from the header, you would probably want to call the next and the next and the next until there are no more. And that's done simply by using the next occurrence, because that's how we work it. We give you the address of the next occurrence, and you just keep traversing until you have no more data. You will have all the data in your hand or in your variables, whatever, however you want to process it. Okay. So more of the same. If we have an error, then again, get first occurrence. If that's successful, then fetch it and set it out onto your variables. And once we've done that, then we simply put the response data and the return data, if you have an error, of course, back in our regions on the panel, and whoopsie, we get the result. So all in all, a very easy way of creating Transact XML sheets and traversing through them, getting them back, and of course it's all done using Microsoft XML 6.0 parser and well, the DOM layer. So it's all done underneath. You will see a lot of stuff going on. But again, just as we do it with Obsidian, where we try to give you a lot of a head start into web development. In this case, we give you a head start into Transact XML development. Okay. So a little advice again about SOA, as I talked to you earlier. Our experience and what we also have I've seen over the time that we try to use so is if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it, and don't try to boil the ocean. That's an example I took from a book. I like it a lot because that's basically what you have to do. Start out where it makes sense and try to make the sensible approach to SOA and not just redo everything that actually works and works fine. This is just basically another presentation or another illustration of what we just did. We have our application here that sends data into the XML generator, sends off a SOAP request to our partner system or the ERP system of SAP that we just showed you. They will receive it if they are lucky enough to have Transact XML. They will receive it using the XML processor, and that will give them the data into their apps to do their processing, their whatever that they do, and then they will send it back to the XML processor, create a new document or the answer to our request, ship it back to us, and we will take care of it in the XML generator again, and we will have data to work with. Now this is a normal document-based web service. Okay. Questions?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask an audio question, you may do so by pressing star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, you may do so by pressing star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. And there are no audio questions at this time.
Okay. Well, at this time, then, I would like to say thank you for attending our presentation, and I would like to remind you that we have a workshop in Chicago at CA Plex World. Well, I hope to see you there if you have interest in this, and we will do this by hand and show you how everything is done in more detail than we have time to do right now. Okay, so hope to see you then, and thank you for today.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.